Right, let's get back to some Jinimai and Yeezy story. Yes, there's still some more news about those people in the news. Some few weeks ago, Yeezy, a rapper, American rapper, filed for divorce from his wife of 2 years. And some more videos are still coming out that you might have seen, but I'm gonna have my commentary and see if we can learn something from that, right? You know how some people say, I'm finding myself. She said, I don't care usually means you care. Yes, they do, but we remind them. Sometimes you just forget that you care. Anyway, Jinimai, I found myself through my husband, Jeezy. You know how some people say, well, I need to find myself. What they call it? It's called self-discovery. Majority of the internet knows what self-discovery is. They don't know what self-awareness is. Okay? They know what self-discovery, self-discovery. They know what's up. And usually people don't know about self-discovery until they have collected shege. And then they start to discover self, like, I need to discover myself. So I can be prepared for the rest of my life. I need to discover myself.
These nuts.
I know, I'm sorry. I don't want to discombobulate all your favorite terminologies, talking points. I don't want to do that, because, we write books here as well, So, and what usually happens when you read a book, especially if you read 10 to 15 times, as I suggest, is that they become talking points. I get that, right? But the whole point of not just 3 times is so that you don't just do talking points. I want you to internalize it based off of your own story and actually build a new self, okay? And that new self is not perfect, but it's self-aware. It's self-aware, right? It's not self-discovering. Self-discovery just sounds quite a lot like the goal is perfection. And that's unrealistic expectations. No one is perfect. No relationship is perfect. Do I need to tell you that? Come on now. But anyway, she's teaching us something here, even though this was recorded. I like the platform that she's actually on, Shambudi. Shambudi is another content creator. I'll see if I can give her the credit here. But let's play this video. Let's see what Jinimai is saying.
Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it in my grandmother. Saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my aunts, to me, right? But I didn't notice it in myself until I was with Jeezy.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No, because
not even in the previous marriage.
It has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person to mirror things back to you where you actually would stop you in your tracks and evaluate yourself.
Wait, that's a lot. She said a lot there. Oh, wow. All right, let me see. I'm gonna have to replay it. Let me replay it.
Not a lot of people know this, but it's just something in my family. I've seen it in my grandmother. Saw it in my grandfather, to my grandmother, to my mom, to my
grandmother. Is she from Asia? But she's an Asia person, right? So grandfather, for those that are fantasizing about Asia people, let's continue.
Aunts to me, right? But I didn't notice it in myself until I was with
She didn't notice it in herself until when?
Jeezy.
Interesting. You didn't notice in your previous marriage?
No.
She didn't notice in the previous marriage. That is interesting, but you see the point I'm trying to extract in a second.
Right, because it has to do with the type of relationship you have and the type of respect you have for that person to mirror things back to you where you actually would stop you in your tracks. And
at this point, I would have loved her to tell us all the different types, right? She's Vietnamese. Okay, that's considered Asia, right? That's considered Asia, right? Geography is not geography right now, right?
Evaluate yourself,
So I would want to know, like, what types of relationship. If you're married, you're married. If there's any collaboration between human beings, it's to create friction. It's just what it is. Okay. All right. So what do you do with friction? You learn how to manage them. You don't pray for them to evaporate or never happen, because that will be unrealistic expectations, right? But what do some people do? Say, I'm just going to be alone so I can self-discover. You cannot self-discover if you don't experience friction in life, okay? And self-discovery, like I said, sounds like the goal is perfection. Like I just discover myself and everything else should be fine. No, it should be more so self-awareness. There's nothing wrong with self-discovery. Don't take me out of context. And I don't want to take the people that tend to preach that out of context either. I just also see that a lot of people interpret them as the holy grail, holy everything solution, as self-discover, and then it will be perfect. No, it actually will never be perfect. That's actually the reality. It will never be perfect. Okay, this is all an experience. Okay, some people will have good experience, some people will have bad experience. The ones that are having good experience, they just know what to do with imperfect life. An imperfect partner. They know what to do. They know how to navigate. They know how to manage their life around that. That's the difference. Not that they are just so lucky. No. Not that their life is just perfect, right? Or they discover all the psychological terminologies out there, so they know exactly how to psychoanalyze the other person. That never works out well. You will literally miss out on life if you're psychoanalyzing your partner. I know. I just created another topic. I don't want you to go and be repeating this. I want you to know what I actually mean. Okay? You will literally miss out on life if you're busy psychoanalyzing your partner or your partners to be, or you will miss out on everything. Okay, and time is not your mate. Let's continue.
Had it.
So I
But you
had
didn't
it, but
acknowledge it as a problem.
nobody ever called me out on it. Also, in my line of work,
Oh, nobody ever called you out on it. Are you saying Jeezy called you out on it? Oh, how did that work out? I will be curious. How did that work out when he called you out on it?
sometimes being a boss isn't so great for you because you have a lot of people who just agree to what you want. They're yes men, right? And so
That's a fact.
I didn't notice that I had a hot temper until I got with Jeezy. And here's a person who is my equal and I really respect. And when I would spew some of my old habits, not a lot of people old habits, and he was like, like who
Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? Right? And guess what happened when he said, who are you talking to? What do you think happened? Especially if it's the first time somebody told her, who are you talking to? Right?
stop flying here. And also, it would trigger him to come back at me with things where I was like,
Oh, he didn't do who you talking to. It's like, who are you talking to? Oh, yeah. The reaction, you think that reaction is only going to be one or two ways? It's not going to be just two ways. I promise you, I guarantee you. Okay? That reaction is going to be as many ways as we're told this story. Okay? Not on the internet. I'm talking about even in their lives. You know, when they walk out the door and they go tell their partner or their friends or somebody like, you see what he was just doing just now, right? And that person will now help you interpret in the way they see it too, right? Now you have a third interpretation of what's going on, right? And that person will now tell your cousin, and the cousin will like, what? He spoke to you like that? Right? And that person will have their own interpretation too. Oh yeah, it gets very, very complicated really, really quickly. Potentially, he might just file for divorce. Right? Maybe it has nothing to do with this actual event, but maybe other things happened, right? But then they pile on each other, right? And at some point, there's only so much a human being can take, right? And you might actually sit down there and think, well, this is a marriage. Well, if that person waited for you, you might end up having to be the first to do it first too, right? You think people actually sit around and understand this before they go into a marriage, especially yes, people with a bunch of yes people around them, people that have access to everything, money, lifestyle, right? Vegas, let's just get married in Vegas, right? You think they actually sat down, and if they did talk about it, you think they can actually comprehend this without going through it first? Oh, we're getting somewhere.
who the fuck do you think you are?
Oh.
But I was triggering him. So through work, we learned that we both have certain habits that to the everyday person, from Friends, family, fans, they'll never see it. But to the person who loves us deep enough, you can.
Oh, people are not coming out from the streets. They're not coming from the streets to offend you. It's the people that are the closest to you. They are the one that will show you shege. Oh yeah, verbal abuse, emotional abuse, yeah, all of that. Hopefully, no physical stuff. Right? Oh no, but I never emotionally abused him. Like, huh? What do you mean? I will never find out. How about that? Let's continue though.
Press that button and boom, the dragon comes out. And we both have it. So we had to work on that. But he never told me to fix my temper. I just saw it and I thought, unless I want to stay in this place.
Yeah. If you're self-aware enough, you're going to catch yourself. At some point, like, that's not even me. Why am I boiling like that, right? That's not even who I am, right? Anyway, let's continue. Almost there. We got a story to cover today. We're going to react to Reno Omokri and Naira Marley in a few minutes.
Where I lose this person I love and I stay in my comfort zone of doing what I want to do and function the way I have for the last 40 years when nobody else had to stop me.
Which obviously has done quite well for you.
Right, I could have. But this was something greater that I wanted. And also a great challenge to myself to say, what if, now that I know it exists and the dragon's there, what if I got rid of that? How do I kill that dragon or store it in its place so that old habits? And
Or what if I go to a one-time counseling for 30 minutes and I'll get rid of that unrealistic expectations? What if I actually do the work? This is a bad habit. How long does it take to change habits? Okay, it takes a minimum. Some people say 10,000 hours. Some people say 90 days, right? The bottom line is that it's not going to happen one time. You're going to have a lot of, what's the word that I always use? You're going to go back to your bad habits quite a few times before you get rid of it. It's just what it is. It's just real life. It's not your fault. It's just how life works, right? But, just like when you go to the gym, reps, coaching, right? You need a support system. It's a matter of time, right? You change that. But what do most people do, right? They do the same thing they do with gym. They go one day and then they forget about it and then they come back again 3 months time when there's crisis and then they expect there to be a change. That is witchcraft. That mindset is witchcraft in nature.
Not be juju be that.
It's not gonna happen. You're your shadow. It follows you everywhere you go, especially if you don't want to do the work. She's right about the work. Now, some of us are good talkers. When we find ourselves in that situation is when you really know the real deal, right? So maybe you just couldn't pull it through. Maybe the damages were too bad.
he was like, like, who? That's not flying here. And also, it would trigger him to come.
Yeah, that's Jeezy right there. So Jeezy, in recent times, the past 2 weeks or so, he's filed for divorce from Jinemai, sadly. It's sad every time we see that because that's another home broken. But hopefully they learn something from it.